Welcome along to Saturday Sport. This time last night you heard from Marist captain Scott Ed, quietly confident that they can take out the Galbraith Shield this weekend. I'm sure Woodlands have other ideas. Their captain Andrew McIntosh joins us to preview the match. Good evening, Andrew. Welcome along and congratulations on making the final.
Thanks, Tom. How are you?
3 peats aren't easy.
No, they're not.
It's a bit of a challenge for you. You're confident though that that experience of past finals will serve you a good stead?
Yeah, we definitely, we've spoken about the experience thing coming into finals. It's not going to get the job done for us, but it's definitely going to play a part.
Because it was hard work last year, but yeah, the boys held on.
Yeah, she was a bit of a tough slog against Star last year. I think come down to they started attacking our line close to the end, but the boys managed to hold on, which was good.
Well, let's talk about your season as a whole. Bit of a bumpy start, we'd have to say, didn't we, with a couple of losses? Yeah,
we had a tough one first up against Star. We had to play them for the Scruffy Butt, which is a pretty wanted trophy between the both clubs. Star tipped us up. Sort of got back on track a wee bit, and then we come up against Marist, and they managed to beat us out at home, which never sits pretty with the Woodies boys. But since then, the boys have been travelling not too bad. Yeah, ticking away.
All right, I've asked Scott what he thought of the two games between you. Give us your impression, because they thought they might have been unlucky not to win both if they were ahead late in the other piece.
Like, to be honest, they out at Woodies we got out to a good start, and then we just let the foot off the throat, let them back into the game. They've got a fairly potent backline who can sort of run it from anywhere when they want to. They cut us up a wee bit, scored a couple of quick tries, and they actually ended up putting a few points on us in the end. In the first game. Second game, we got out to a good start. Marist come back at us, and we let, once again, their backs cut through us. Curtis Tarrant, good runner of the ball, Keanu, big strong ball runner, and put the pressure on. But that game we were lucky, we sort of clawed our way back in and managed to get the win, which was good.
Let's talk about your semi-final against Hawks, Pirates Old Boys, whatever you want to call them these days. A close score at the end, but you did have control, didn't you, until late in the piece, and they came back.
Yeah, we started all right. Probably not as well as what we wanted. We knew that Pirates Old Boys were coming off a bit of a rough loss up in Gore. They got a bit of a hiding by the barbars. We knew that they'd be up for it. And they did in the first half. She was a bit of toing and froing, and we didn't really get the dominance that we wanted. Come out in the second half, and we had a good sort of 20-minute patch where we managed to hold on to the pill and create pressure, and then once again the boys let the foot off the throat and we let them sort of claw their way back into the game. But we'll learn lessons from that definitely going into the final. I
just thought when they had their player sin-binned, that was time for you to take advantage, and you did really. You took control at that stage. Yeah,
I spoke to Porno before the game. If we sort of found ourselves in that situation, then we wanted to make sure that we do put pressure on by doing that. If we know that they're in a trouble with cards or their men down, it's definitely an opportunity to try strike.
If you look back over the season, once you got through that initial start, is there one game in particular that you think you probably hit the nail on the head for the full 80 or close to?
No, and that's the thing going into this final, which we want to do. Probably the closest that we come. We had a good game against, a good first half against Star. We played them in some pretty atrocious conditions out at Woody. She was wet and cold. Weekend of the Oyster
Wouldn't have been muddy out there at all.
No, it wouldn't have been muddy out there, just a wee bit damp on top. But yeah, we in the first half we come out and we just actually put together a good performance for the first half. Once again in the second half things sort of slipped off again. Same with the barbars, we had patches there where we can play really well, and then other times we let ourselves down. So our focus for this week leading into the final is to make sure that we actually try to put that full performance together.
You may not have finalised your squad just yet as we record this interview, but sort of what proportion of the team would have played last year's final? 2/3?
I think I was counting through before. I think we've probably only got about 4 or 5 guys in our squad that haven't played finals.
They haven't played finals?
Haven't played finals before.
Right,
so I think if you go through the Marist team, there'll probably be about 3 or 4 that have.
That's right. Yeah. Seeper, I think, was mentioned. That's about it. So that is an important thing, isn't it? Because those games are under pressure are like nothing else you played during the season.
Oh yeah, no, it's just another step up again. Having said that, though, like a team, like we've been there and done it before. But having said that, like Marist have, they're a very, very proud club, and they're coming in with. Was it 10 years since they made a final, and a lot longer since they won it, and so they're going to be absolutely up for it. And you can imagine the parochial
that's right.
Marist supporters on the side. I'm going to be getting stuck in.
They have won it this century, but only just sneaked in the front door there. Let's talk about your captaincy. Like Scott, it's your second year. Yep. How's it changed, do you think? What have you learned from last year that you applied this year?
I think I learn a lot off Porno and learn a lot off Cabbage as well. But probably more this year I've become sort of aware of situations in games, sort of more about momentum in games and what's sort of happening and what we can do to actually negate that or when we need to ramp it up. That's probably, or when's the right time to have a crack or play a bit more conservative. That's probably for me the big thing that I've learnt this year over the last wee while.
And you mentioned Jason, you've got huge experience outside of club football, isn't it? And you surely can only just look at those guys when things get tough.
Oh, like Cabbage is huge for us. Like he's the guy on the team who's, as you said, been there, done it. And if Cabbage is saying something, then 100% of the time it probably needs to be done. And he's good there for the boys because he tells the boys how it is, and the boys will do it, which is good. He's unreal.
Now, there's one other name I'm going to mention, may or may not be playing. I thought the rule was you had to have a 2-week stand down. There's a possibility that Jamie might make an appearance.
Yeah, he might come down and have a wee run for us. He come down and played a game for us against the Barbars halfway through the year. And we talk about this at the start of the year with our squad. If we have our guys available to play, then our sort of policy is that we'll try to put the best 15 on the park. Whopper's played nearly 50 games for Warriors over an extended period of time. So he is it, and he's a very good club man who always comes down and makes himself available. So I think within right, he deserves the opportunity to come back and have a crack for his club.
Yeah, and I think the best players, it's your premier competition, let's have the best players on the field for the crowd.
Yeah.
So the looking back over the club structure this year, there was an experiment with the crossover games. I just want to get your opinion on whether you think that's helped progress the standard, or does it open the door, or what's your opinion?
I think it's a bit of a controversial topic, that one. I think that within reason it's a good thing. I know there was a lot of talk about saturation of club footy and whether you're going to dilute your top competition by including those teams in, but I think the better way to look at it is that we actually want to bring the grade up. I think the Div 1 teams have probably learnt a wee bit about structure and about sort of playing to a plan when playing against the Prem side, and I think they've probably also learnt that we don't have an extra arm and an extra leg. We're still blokes running around a rugby paddock as well, and a few of the teams have actually given the boys a bit of a go. I know there's been a few sort of blowouts and results, but overall I think it's a good thing to definitely persevere with. Yeah,
and it just shows you how good you have to be week in, week out, isn't it? It's not just a one day, and that's really the test for the lower teams.
Yeah. But no, I think it's definitely worthwhile persevering with.
So what's the preparation this week? Is it light training? Have you done most of the work, or let me in a secret here? What have you done?
Bit of touching up on a few things that probably let us down the weekend. A lot of talk about our game plan in terms of how we want to play the game, what we want to be doing. Obviously go through, within reason, short, sharp trainings, execute well, and then we'll have a quiz night on Friday night.
Get the brains in tune.
Which is a bit of we have one on finals, so semi-finals, and if we make the finals, then have one on the finals as well. She's a bit of banter between the boys on Friday night.
Healthy, isn't it?
That's good.
Can we expect an expensive game? Because it was the last year's final was the ball was spread far and wide and quickly.
Yeah, I think all depends on the teams that you play. Like if you look at Star, they're very, very strong up front. They like to play a good close game. So last year, I think the plan was to try have a crack in them out wide. Won't let too much out of the bag, but I think this week Marist are a different team again. If you look across the Marist team, they've got a very good scrum, they've got a very effective line out, good inside back combination, got some pretty good threats out wide, so they're very, very well balanced.
Sound unbeatable.
Not quite. They're a very they're a very well balanced team. Yeah. So we've got a few strategies up our sleeve in terms of what we want to do, but I think the focus for us this week has been more on we actually want to look back ourselves and make sure that we've put the performance on the park that we can be proud of.
Do you think you're in the same place as you were pre-last year final, or better place, better prepared? Probably,
if you look at the depth in our squad, I think we've probably got a wee bit more depth in our squad this year. But I think we're sitting pretty good, like similar to where we were last year. Travelling along, we've had a nice wee build into it, which has been good.
Well, you look back over the last 10 years, Woodlands have been the dominant team. They've been either the finalists or they've played. So is the zip there, the interest, the keenness in the guys to go out there yet one more time?
Oh yeah, like we don't, like every year when you bring a new bunch of boys together, you've always got that passion there, and it's something that we we don't necessarily talk about it much outside, but in our group, it's definitely a big focus for us. We know what we want to do, and we know what we want to achieve, and we want to go 3 in a row. Like, there's definitely the desire there for the boys to do it, which is good.
We'll find out if that's the case. 2:30 on Saturday afternoon. All the very best with that.
Cheers, Tom. Thanks.
All right, we'll have a highlights package on Monday of the grand final, the Gale Shield. It's between Woodlands and Marist. 2:30 Rugby Park. Be there. Good night.